Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10 while supporting the channel at the same time. Hello and welcome to another episode of Wacky Wednesday, a weekly series where I explore wacky deck ideas in both Standard and Modern, and this week we're taking a look at a black-white Lich's Mastery deck in Standard. That's a combo control deck built around the 6-mana legendary enchantment from Dominaria. Lich's Mastery's got a lot of text, so let's try and break it down. So Lich's Mastery itself has hexproof, which means the opponent cannot easily remove it. Lich's Mastery says you can't lose the game, but of course there's a catch here, and we'll get to that in a second. But first off, the big payoff is whenever you gain life, you get to draw that many cards. So you'll see throughout the deck we have a bunch of cards that can gain us life, and that means we'll get to draw a ton of cards with the Lich's Mastery. And of course the primary combo in the deck is to combine a Lich's Mastery with Approach of the Second Sun, which is also a primary win condition, 7 mana sorcery that makes us gain 7 life, and then we get to put Approach 7 cards down back into our deck, and then if we cast an Approach for the second time, we get to win the game on the spot. So of course, by gaining 7 life, we get to draw 7 cards with the Lich's Mastery, so we end up drawing the very same copy of Approach that we've just cast, and if we have enough mana, we can even cast a second copy in the same turn to win the game on the spot. Otherwise, we get to cast it a turn later and win the game then. So of course there's also a few downsides with a Lich's Mastery, in that whenever you lose life, for each life you lost, you have to exile a permanent you control or a card from your hand or graveyard, which means you really want to avoid taking too much damage once the Lich's Mastery is in play, because at some point you'll run out of other cards to exile and have to exile the Lich's Mastery itself, and at that point Lich's Mastery says when it leaves the battlefield you lose the game, so you want to avoid that at all costs, which is why the rest of the deck is basically full of removal spells to try and keep you alive and prevent taking damage once the Lich's Mastery is in play, so we can set up the win with Approach of the Second Sun. So let's take a look at the rest of the deck, starting out with our 1-drops, where we have 3 copies of Fatal Push, a nice cheap efficient removal spell to get rid of creatures, can even take out a Heart of Kiran, which a removal spell like Seal Away cannot deal with. Next up we have some card selection artifacts, 2 copies of Azor's Gateway, which is a 2-mana legendary artifact. We can pay 1 mana, tap it to draw a card and then exile a card from our hand, and then if we happen to exile 5 cards with varying converted mana costs from our hand, we get to transform Azor's Gateway into Sanctum of the Sun and also gain 5 life, which is also pretty synergistic with a Lich's Mastery, since we get to draw 5 cards when we transform it. And then Sanctum of the Sun is a legendary land that taps to add mana equal to our life total, and Sanctum of the Sun also works nicely with Approach of the Second Sun with a Lich's Mastery in play, since if we have a lot of life to work with, we'll add a ton of mana to our mana pool with Sanctum of the Sun, and we'll have enough mana to cast Approach, draw 7 cards, redraw the same copy of Approach, cast it a second time, and to win the game on the spot. And next up we also have 2 copies of Treasure Map, which also helps us smooth out our draws and eventually transforms into Treasure Cove, which can help us draw more cards. And those treasure tokens also add a ton of artifacts in play, which is also nice with Karn, Scion of Urza, in case we need to go on the beatdown plan with Karn as an alternate win condition as opposed to Approach of the Second Sun. Next up we have 2 copies of Seal Away, 2-mana flash enchantment that can exile a tapped creature. We also have 2 copies of Moment of Craving, 2 mana to give a creature -2/-2 and gain 2 life, so the life we gain can also be nice with a Lich's Mastery in play. Then we have 4 copies of Renewed Faith, which is a 3-mana instant that can gain 6 life, so with a Lich's Mastery in play that's 3 mana to gain 6 life and draw 6 cards, but more often than not we're gonna cycle Renewed Faith, so for 2 mana we get to draw a card, and then when we cycle Renewed Faith we also gain 2 life, which is still nice since that helps us smooth out our draw and buffer our life total a little bit. And we also have 2 copies of Ritual of Rejuvenation, 3 mana to gain 4 life and draw a card, so pretty similar to Renewed Faith. Then we have 2 copies of Karn, Scion of Urza to provide Karn advantage with the +1 and -1 abilities. We can see a lot of extra cards, make sure to keep hitting land drops and eventually find our win conditions. And then the -2 can also be used as a win condition, especially nice with cards like Azor's Gateway and Treasure Map providing extra artifacts in play. We have 2 copies of Cast Out as a versatile removal spell that can exile any non-land permanent. 1 copy of Settle the Wreckage to exile all attacking creatures from the opponent. 2 copies of Vraska's Contempt as another versatile removal spell that can exile creatures or planeswalkers, and also gains 2 life, which is nice with Lich's Mastery. Then we have 3 copies of Fumigate, which is our main sweeper in the deck, destroying all creatures and making us gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way, so also works nicely with Lich's Mastery. Then we have 4 copies of the namesake Lich's Mastery, and finally 3 copies of Brooch of the Second Sun. We might end up exiling 1 copy with Azor's Gateway, since it's nice to have a 7 mana card you can exile with the Gateway. And then we just have a few backup copies, and we do want to make sure to find an approach at some point when we have Lich's Mastery in play to close out the game as quickly as possible. Then our mana base is pretty straightforward. We have 4 copies of Concealed Courtyard, which enters the battlefield untapped if it's one of our first 3 lands, along with 4 copies of Isolated Chapel, which enters untapped if we control a plains or a swamp as our dual lands, then 7 basic plains, 7 basic swamps, 1 Scavenger Grounds to exile all graveyards, which is nice against the Godfarer's Gift decks, and to go with the Scavenger Grounds we also have 2 Ifnir Deadlands to add more deserts in case we want to sacrifice the Ifnir Deadlands instead of the Scavenger Grounds, or the other way around, since we can sacrifice a desert with the Ifnir Deadlands to put 2 -1/-1 counters on a creature, and then finally 1 copy of Field of Ruin to get rid of problematic non-basic lands from the opponent, and maybe to fix our own mana. Then going over the sideboard, we have 4 copies of Duress against the control decks, 1 copy of Fatal Push as an extra removal spell against aggro decks, 2 copies of Sorcerous Spyglass, which is pretty versatile, can name planeswalkers, can name cards like Gate to the Afterlife against the Godfarer's Gift decks, so there's a lot of different applications. 2 copies of Invoke the Divine to deal with artifacts and enchantments, and also gains us 4 life, which is nice with Lich's Mastery. Then we have a Doomfall as an additional discard effect against control decks, but it can also get rid of creatures, which is nice if those control decks maybe rely on a sideboard plan with Lyra Dawnbringer, so we still have a way to exile the powerful angel. We have 1 copy of Profane Procession, which is also nice against creature decks. We have a Golden Demise as an additional sweeper against go-wide aggro decks. And finally 3 copies of Lyra Dawnbringer, which is great against aggressive decks and is also just an alternate win condition in case the Approach of the Second Sun plan doesn't work out. So that's the deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Alright, we're on the play, and this hand seems fine. Alright, turn 1 Duress. Can choose between all our cards here. Does take the Gateway. Alright, no play on turn 2. Picked up a Seal Away. Still don't know if the opponent's playing any creatures or if they're a more controlling deck. Triple Swamp, could be a mono black deck. And there's Dream Stealer. Alright, Seal Away is looking good against Dream Stealer. Play the Ritual. Pick up another Fumigate. Say go. And hope they don't have another Duress before they attack us with the Dream Stealer. Alright, they're attacking. So Seal Away is probably going to be good here. And an Evolving Wilds, so they probably have a second color in there. Nope, just for a swamp. That's interesting. And a Heartless Pillage, making us discard 2 cards. I guess we'll split the difference here. So our opponent is on some sort of discard deck. At least they're not dealing us damage if we get a Lich's Master in play, so I think once we do get a Lich's Master in play, we should be in okay shape. Another Heartless Pillage. I guess we might as well gain some life. Alright. They got us. And their opponent with a second Dream Stealer, but at this point our hand's empty, so it's not as devastating. So don't really want to use the Ifnir Deadlands, since then they might be able to eternalize it. Settle the Wreckage, not bad against it. Opponent with a third Dream Stealer, sure. And Karn is great here. Just gonna plus. Hope to maybe get a land so we can play it here. Opponent chooses to give us the gateway since they're probably gonna attack us instead of Karn and gonna make us discard the gateway, which makes sense. But we do have a Karn in play, so as long as our opponent doesn't play the 3 mana Shade, we are probably fine for now. So Dreamstealer makes us discard. No auto play from the opponent. Let's plus Karn once again. Gives us a renewed faith. So probably just gonna use cast out on the Dreamstealer here. Raider's Wake. So when they make us discard, we lose life. That's fine. I think we just cast out the Dreamstealer instead of the Wake. They could kill their own Dreamstealer in response, so that they can still eternalize it, but doesn't look like it. Alright, so Raider's Wake doesn't do anything this turn. And Approach is not a bad one, but we are stuck on 5 lands at the moment. So let's keep plussing Karn, I think. Could have also considered minusing just to get the swamp there. Opponent does give us the land this time instead of the Lich's Mastery. So let's play the land. And probably just want to cycle Renewed Faith right now. Opponent does make us lose 2 life from the Raider's Wake, since cycling is the same as discarding a card essentially. But we gain 2 life as well, so it doesn't really matter. Found another land. So next turn we can minus Karn, get back Lich's Mastery, and the turn after play Approach. So hopefully they can't make us discard here. Alright, just another land. Sweet, so let's minus Karn, get back Lich's Mastery. And then play said Lich's Mastery. And say go. And then we can win in 2 turns if they don't mess with our hand here. The Raider's Wake could be annoying with Lich's Mastery in play, if they can make us discard. Painful Lesson, opponent draws 2. So they probably drew into another way to make us discard here is my guess. Another Painful Lesson instead. Opponent keeps drawing more cards, but now we get to untap and play an Approach, which is gonna be great. Let's plus Karn first. And once we get to gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, we have plenty of fuel for the Lich's Mastery to discard. Opponent gives us a Moment of Craving. Let's cast Approach. And gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, draw Approach right away. And then next turn win the game. Alright, sweet. We will have to discard to hand size here, which is actually pretty funny with the Raider's Wake in play, since that's gonna make us lose life, which I guess we have plenty of fuel in the graveyard for now, so we'll be fine. So discard 2 lands, and then lose 4 life, and then just get rid of 4 cards in our graveyard. Alright, opponent gets to untap. They need to find something like a Duress, a targeted discard effect to make us discard the Approach. Heartless Pillage instead. Discard a Moment of Craving and a land. So I have to go through this song and dance again. Exile 2 cards. And even if they somehow do make us discard the Approach, we can minus Karn to get back Renewed Faith, and then cast it to essentially draw 6 cards, which is pretty good as well. Torment of Scarabs is fine. Torment of Scarabs triggers. I guess we can just sacrifice a non-land permanent. Give them back a Dreamstealer, doesn't really matter since we get to Approach again here to win the game. Alright, so that's the game 1 against a mono black discard. Once we landed the Lich's Mastery, it felt like we were in a pretty good position. So how do we want to sideboard? Don't mind bringing in the Dawnbringers as our sideboard plan. Fumigate doesn't look great. Would rather have the exile effects against Dreamstealer. Doomfall looks okay. Can make him exile the Dreamstealer. Profane Procession looks okay. Once we can land this at 3 mana, we'll have a nice repeatable removal spell. Invoke the Divine seems okay against those enchantments. And Fatal Push didn't look great. Seal Away looks fine, Moment of Craving is okay, all the life gain's fine. I guess we can cut one Moment of Craving maybe. Let's try this. So in the early game we just want to make sure to hit our land drops. And this hand unfortunately just has the 2 lands, so I don't think we can keep this one. This is a bit better I guess. And then Gateway, it's worse than just a land is my guess, but I don't mind keeping it on top, as it gives us a way to filter our draw. So having these expensive cards in our opening hand is not great for us, since we probably end up discarding them, but cards like Gateway are fine. Concealed Freebooter is a little annoying, probably takes the Gateway. So here we can just cycle Renewed Faith. So they might have a Raider's Wake with Raid here, which would be pretty good for them. Might be forced to discard Mastery and Approach. Yeah, I think we do cycle Renewed Faith, since we want to make sure to hit land drops. And they might end up taking the Renewed Faith otherwise. Alright, so now they might just take the Settle the Wreckage. At some point we could use the Deadlands to kill the Freebooter, although I would prefer not to, since I don't really want to give up a land. And there's Torment of Scarabs, that's an annoying one here. So for now I think we just lose a life. Could just give up on the approach I guess. We might actually be better off just discarding the approach right now, since if they make us discard cards, we'll end up not having the approach in hand anyways, so might as well discard it now. And then play the Deadlands, which is at least useful. And then they might make us discard 2 cards, have to discard Mastery and a land, get to play a land, go from there. Hope to find Cast Out or Invoke the Divine. Opponent with a Painful Lesson instead, can hit us for 1. Alright, no play from the opponent. Now I think we lose a life, although it's close. Opponent did just draw 2 cards if they found a Mind Rot effect. Yeah, I'll lose a life. Since also losing a life once we have Mastery in play is a lot more painful, since we don't have a ton of cards in graveyard. Vraska's Contempt's not bad. Might end up just exiling the Freebooter before it attacks, so your opponent doesn't get to trigger Raid. Another Torment of Scarabs, alright. Guess we'll get rid of the Freebooter now. So double Torment of Scarabs is gonna be painful here, so let's probably just lose 6 life. Or we could lose 3, discard Gateway. Maybe it's fine to discard the Gateway here. Alright, Dawnbringer's not bad. Might actually be better than playing Mastery right now, since then losing life is gonna be a lot less of an issue. And if we get to play Mastery next turn before we attack, gain 5, draw 5 cards, we should be in great shape. Opponent might have another Doomfall here maybe, which is a nice split card in the spot. Instead of Raider's Wake, that's fine. Into Dreamstealer, that's fine as well. Alright, don't mind our position here. So Torment of Scarabs can just lose a bunch of life here, since our life total's not really gonna matter with the Mastery in play. Rejuvenation's also nice. So let's play the Mastery. Attack for 5. And draw 5 cards. There we go. Play a land, say go. And with the Ritual and Renewed Faith, we have plenty of more ways to draw cards. The opposing enchantments are pretty annoying, not gonna lie, but I'm sure we can overcome those as well. So let's exile a card from graveyard, then discard a card, which is gonna make us lose 2 life, which means we have to exile 2 more cards from graveyard. And a Heartless Pillage, that's annoying. Alright, let's discard 2 more cards. I guess Treasure Map and Land. And that's gonna make us lose 4 more life. Alright, so our graveyard's gonna be empty here. And then the 2 Torment of Scarabs are still gonna happen. So I guess in response to the Torment we can also cast a Renewed Faith. So discard Ritual, lose 2, so get rid of a card in graveyard, and then I guess we just get rid of a land. Untap, and then in response to these, I think we just want to cast Renewed Faith. Gain 6 life. Draw 6 cards. And then, yeah, cast Invoke the Divine on Raider's Wake. Get rid of that annoying thing. Gain 4 more life. Draw 4 more cards. Alright. Draw for draw step. Play lands, attack for 5. Draw 5 cards. And then next turn approach. And the turn after approach again. It's a pretty crazy game. A lot of synergies actually between the two decks. The Raider's Wake and Lich's Mastery is not great for us, but I think we'll manage. A Gonti Lord of Luxury, that's fine. So now we have plenty of cards in the graveyard that we discarded to hand size as fuel for the Lich's Mastery. And then once we cast Approach, we should be in a good spot. Opponent is empty-handed, so they need to top deck a Duress effect. And Dawnbringer almost got there herself. Discard a land. And what did our opponent find with Gonti? A Renewed Faith just to gain some life, that's fine. So Torment of Scarabs happens, lose 3 life, exile 3 cards from graveyard, and then lose 3 life again, exile 3 more cards from graveyard. I don't think it's necessary for us to attack with Dawnbringer, but I guess as long as we have Lich's Mastery in play, decking is not gonna lose us the game, so we might as well draw all the cards. So let's cast Approach, gain 7, draw 7 cards, and then attack with Dawnbringer, draw 5 more cards, and then play a land for the turn, and then discard a whole bunch of cards to hand size. Alright, so we have 2 approaches in hand. Opponent needs something pretty specific here to get out of this, like a Lost Legacy, naming approach would do it, but then we still have our Angel beating down for 5. So take a bit of damage, exile some cards from graveyard, and then discard, I guess, a land. And a Deadeye Tormentor, making us discard another card. Alright, so this should be game. Get to untap, lose some more life. And then we can just cast an approach. Could have drawn some more cards with our Dawnbringer first, but there's no need here. Alright, sweet, on to the next one. Alright, we're on the play, and unfortunately can't keep a 1-lander. Alright, I'll keep this, and yeah, keep the land on top. Turn 1 Llanowar Elves, so could be in trouble if they have a turn 2 3-drop that's relevant here. But we're just playing a treasure map. And then maybe scry on upkeep next turn, and then we can still seal away. Alright, blue-green. And is this a Steel Leaf champion? It sure is. Well, we do have a seal away and cast out as answers, so it's not the end of the world. So let's scry on upkeep. And don't need another treasure map. Alright. Say go. Could also seal away the Llanowar Elves, but I think I would rather seal away the Steel Leaf champion. Let's see if the blue maybe represents some counter spells. Alright, Blossoming Defense, makes sense. So we get hit for 7, but as long as we can keep hitting land drops, Fumigate should be able to catch us back up. Opponent goes for a Thrashing Brontodon. Alright, so cast out on Steel Leaf is not going to be a great answer here. So I think we just use Treasure Map to scry. I think we scry on upkeep here. And yeah, we'll keep the planes on top. Even though we're pretty far now from triple black for Lich's Mastery. But we really want to make sure to cast Fumigate next turn. So our opponent will probably get to kill the Treasure Map on the way out with the Brontodon, which is sad news. So best case scenario, they tap out for more creatures here, but that's probably not going to happen. So they hit us for 8, down to 5, Nope, they're sending everyone. And to naturalize on the treasure map instead, that's fine. And hope they don't have a negate main deck. Well, there's a Lich's Mastery, pretty far away from casting that one. So let's Fumigate. We're at 6 on an empty board, but we don't have a ton of stuff left in hand here. Branchwalker is already a significant threat, reveals a forest, and another Brontodon. So we could cycle that in the hopes of finding an untapped land, but I don't think we need to run that risk here. So I'm just gonna cast out the Brontodon here before they get to untap in case they have another Blossoming Defense. And we are taking 5 here from the Haship Oasis if the opponent wants to, but we are technically representing Fatal Push as well. So they just hit us for 2, might have a follow-up creature instead. Nope, alright. Another Lich's Mastery, not really what we needed here. So we could cycle the Renewed Faith in case we maybe want to find a land, but there's also a chance we have to just cast the Renewed Faith if our opponent maybe plays another pump spell on the Branchwalker, and this way we also get to represent some more interaction. And our opponent goes for the Haship Oasis, at least that's their turn gone. So let's cycle Renewed Faith, hope they don't have Blossoming Defense to pump the Branchwalker. Draw Isolated Chapel, alright. And draw Plains, so now we're dead. So had we cycled Renewed Faith and instead of drawing Plains, had we drawn a Swamp, we would have been able to cast Lich's Mastery, which says we can't lose the game. Branchwalker attacks for 2, we just have to get rid of 2 cards in our graveyard. So we would have been able to maybe stabilize from there. But as is, we end up dying to the Branchwalker. Our opponent didn't really see the Lich's Mastery part of our deck. They also had main deck Naturalize and Thrashing Brontodon, so I don't know if Profane Procession is such a great idea in that case. Yeah, I don't think we need to add a ton. The only card I'm considering is Dawnbringer, just as an alternate win condition that can kind of gain us a bunch of life back. It's probably worth it, and then maybe we don't want to rely as much on our artifacts and enchantments. Still like some number of Fatal Push, maybe 4 is too much, since it doesn't really kill the actual threats from the opponent. It is nice at killing Llanowar Elves though. Maybe want to cut some number of cast outs, which could be a liability, and maybe shave 1 Lich's Mastery. Alright, let's try this configuration, and the blue in the opponent's deck could also be for counter spells like Negate, which makes the Dawnbringer plan a lot better. Alright, this hand does have the Dawnbringer and 5 lands to caster, doesn't have anything else, but I guess we'll keep and then hope to draw into some other interaction. On the draw, I would probably not keep this one, but on the play, there's a small chance their opponent holds back some creatures to play around Fumigate, and then that buys us more time to play the Dawnbringer. No turn 1 Llanowar Elves, and there's a Fumigate, alright. So if we can dodge an aggressive start from the opponent, we do have the tools to stabilize. Well, turn 2 Heart of Kiran's not bad. That also makes the Fatal Pushes we have a lot better. But the Dawnbringer can block Heart of Kiran at least. And the reason people are playing all these Heart of Kirans is to fight opposing Sealaways, which we only have the 2 copies of. Yeah, Fatal Push would have been nice here, but we don't have it, so we end up taking 4 down to 16. Next turn we could take 9. But then we'll have the Fumigate or Dawnbringer to stabilize. Alright, Contempt is a nice pickup. So we could Contempt the Steel Leaf right now, which I don't mind. Playing around Blossoming Defense. And sure, our opponent might be able to crew the Heart of Kiran with another creature, but I prefer taking 4 over taking 9. Thrashing Brontodon is fine. So this is our window for resolving Lyra, and hopefully our opponent doesn't have anything like Crushing Canopies to kill her. And next turn, following up with Lich's Mastery, attacking for 5, gaining 5, could draw 5 cards if we wanted to. Merfolk Branchwalker is fine, and there's a negate going to the graveyard, as expected. So let's see if they can find an answer to the 5/5 first striking, life-linking flyer here. Opponent crews Heart of Kiran and then plays a Ghalta Primal Hunger. Yeah, that's a way to beat our Angel, that's for sure. But we pick up another Fumigate, so opponent has 3 cards in hand, so by no means are they empty-handed here. Playing Lich's Mastery here and attacking would not be great, since then we probably die on the way back. So we probably just have to attack with Dawnbringer and then play Fumigate, which is sad, since that still leaves the Heart of Kiran in play. But I don't think we have another option here. So we gain some more life back. Say go. And then next turn go for the Lich's Mastery maybe. Alright, opponent is on empty. So they probably have a negate for this Lich's Mastery is my guess. But might as well make him use it here. Yep. Alright. Land or Elves, doesn't do much. Another Chapel, so we could Ifnir Deadlands, the Land or Elves if we wanted to, but I think we wait for now. And then this is where we want to draw another Lyra, maybe want to draw an Approach, Adventurous Impulse, find Steel Leaf Champion, that's a good one. Opponent does crew the Heart, gets in for 4. Seal Away cannot deal with it, but we can seal away the Steel Leaf Champion here. Opponent's going to use Land or Elves to cast Blossoming Defense, but I'm okay doing this now. Yep, since we're gonna follow up with a Fumigate. The other option we had was to use Ifnir Deadlands on the Land or Elves. Then if they can float mana, we move to a second main phase and then cast Seal Away on the Steel Leaf Champion. That also would have worked. Ooh, but this is perfect. Get to Fumigate, sweep up the Land or Elves as well, and now we have Fatal Push for the Heart of Kiran. But my guess is they have another Heart of Kiran in hand. Jadelight Ranger will be able to crew Heart most likely. Finds Ronas, the Indomitable. Looks like they're just keeping that one on top. Crew Heart. Alright, let's see if they have Blossoming Defense. Number 2 here. They don't. So my guess is another Heart of Kiran in hand. Just a plains, so we can shrink down the Jadelight Ranger if we wanted to. That's probably okay. I'll keep the land in hand in case we need to discard it to an Azor's Gateway. There's Ronas. Jadelight gets in for 2. Moment of Craving can kill the Ranger, we'll do it now to play around Blossoming Defense and negate. And now Ronas doesn't have a creature to pump, so if they don't have any creatures in hand, Ronas might not be able to attack. Opponent hasn't drawn a lot of lands, so they're still stuck on 4. I guess he could also have a Ghalta in hand. We'll just say go. A tapped Sanctum. Alright, that's a good one. Karn. Can provide us some Karn advantage. Probably gets negated, yep. So at this point, Ghalta is the most likely card for them to have in hand, since they probably would have played Heart of Kiran by now. Let's treasure map. Resolves. No need to scry right now. Their opponent's got 6 mana plus 5 power, so they're 1 short of casting a Ghalta here, which is irrelevant. Don't think we need a Renewed Faith here. And this way we get to scry this to the bottom and then upkeep, scry again with the treasure map, and don't need a swamp. Drew Azor's Gateway, alright. We could also Moment of Craving Ronas in the opponent's upkeep or draw step to shrink down Ronas so that they can't play a Ghalta if they top deck a land, but I don't think that's a great plan. Let's play Azor's Gateway for now, and we'll activate it right away. Another treasure map, I guess we'll get rid of the plains, play a treasure map, and say go. And we do have quite a few answers to Ghalta, even if our opponent does get to play it. Right, Naturalize on the Gateway. Interesting that they chose to kill that instead of the treasure map, but that's fine. Land or Elves. So now they have 6 power, 5 mana, so still not enough for Ghalta. End of turn Scry. Bottom Swamp. Upkeep. Scry first with the original treasure map. So we can transform it. Bottom Renewed Faith, and then scry again with the other treasure map. Bottom Swamp. I guess we only have one gateway left in the deck, so I think we'll just play the plains. Probably okay to Moment of Craving the elves. We could wait for the opponent to use Ronas to pump the elves, although it would be bad if our opponent then has a Blossoming Defense, so I guess we'll play it safe. Get rid of the elves. So again, our opponent needs to top deck a land if they want to play Galta. Instead it's a Heart of Kiran, so if they crew Heart of Kiran they can play a Galta, so they might not have a Galta after all. Alright, upkeep, transform another treasure map, and now we have a ton of extra draw steps with our treasure cove, bottom the Deadlands. So let's sacrifice a treasure. A Karn would also be pretty nice here, just being able to minus and make giant artifacts. So let's play the land, say go. We've got Seal Away for Ronas, and I guess we'll take 4 from Heart of Kiran. Branchwalker is fine. Heart of Kiran gets crewed, so we can Seal Away Ronas now if we want to. And there's Galta. Well, maybe need to keep our Seal Away for Galta instead. I'll take 4. Alright, they're not using Ronas, so I don't think we can afford to use Seal Away on Ronas here. So let's untap first, see what we draw. I think we draw first with the Treasure Cove. Approach, alright. Draw again. Ritual, so we can gain a ton of life here, which is nice. Could have maybe also considered playing the approach before using the second Treasure Cove to get closer to the other copy of approach. So I think here we just cast the approach and gain a ton of life back. Say go. And then between our Renewed Faith, Ritual, and the 2 Treasure Coves we can draw the approach again pretty quickly. And the plan is to seal away Galta, and hopefully they don't have Blossoming Defense. Ronas pumping Branchwalker. Everyone's attacking. I think we're forced to seal away here. And we'll target Galta. That works, so we're just taking 9. I guess I could have another copy of Galta here. Nope, alright. Untap, draw. That's not a bad one. So we can play the Angel and then just keep up all our other instants. Seems fine. Ronas pumps Branchwalker again, but it's just Ronas that can attack here. Alright, they're attacking with both, interesting. Definitely blocking. Let's see what happens. Alright, that worked. Strange attack. Alright, end of turn we can cycle the Renewed Faith, draw a card, find a Fumigate, then we can draw a card with Treasure Cove, and our opponent scoops it up. Alright, on to game 3. How do we want to reconfigure here? After seeing all those negates, I'm happy we brought in the Dawnbringer. Might want to bring in another Fatal Push to answer Heart of Kiran, and then maybe shave Ritual of Rejuvenation. Doomfall would also be okay, not great against Llanowar Elves. Invoke the Divine is also an extra answer to Heart of Kiran, so is Sorcerous Spyglass, but our opponent has all those naturalize effects, so I don't think Spyglass is a great answer. Alright, let's try this. This hand does have the Lich's Mastery, but besides Renewed Faith, only lands, so no real interaction, which is a little scary, so I don't think we can keep. Alright, this hand does need to draw some extra lands, but we have the Gateway to help us, and then Fatal Push to kill an early Llanowar Elves or Heart of Kiran. Bottom the Renewed Faith. This time they do have the turn 1 elf. Let's kill it. Branchwalker the follow-up, revealing Blossoming Defense. Not the best one to reveal to the opponent, so they decide to put it in the graveyard. Alright, we did find white mana at least. Let's play the Gateway. Adventurous Impulse finds Botanical Sanctum, which they can play, but no follow-up. Alright, and a Renewed Faith is a nice pickup. So here, can play the Deadlands. Maybe could have considered using Gateway first in case we draw into a Concealed Courtyard. Yeah, I'll use the Gateway now, I think. And then get rid of a Dawnbringer, since we have 2 of them. Seems okay. Next turn we could drop Karn, and if our opponent doesn't add anything to the board, that's a pretty nice play for us. And then hopefully a turn after a Dawnbringer. So Branchwalker attacks. We'll take it. Jadelight Ranger. Opponent reveals Forest and then Galta, which they put in the graveyard, so they might have one in hand already. Cycle Renewed Faith. Alright, there's our land number 5. So if we play Karn, our opponents can just kill it on the way back. And then Karn will just have been gain 6 life, draw the worst card of the top 2. Which is not terrible, but could do better. So we could instead play Treasure Map, scry with Treasure Map, activate Gateway as well, and a turn after play Dawnbringer, which seems a little bit better. Let's use Gateway first. Find a chapel, so probably don't need all the lands here. Get rid of a plains, and then play Treasure Map. Say go. And this also makes it so our opponent needs to respect the Fumigate, so they might have to keep up Negate or not play out more creatures, and if they do keep out Negate, playing the Angel is a nice play. Opponent gets in for 6, we're down to 10. And Steel Leaf Champion to play, so they are probably keeping up a Negate here. So Fumigate will not necessarily be an amazing draw. Bottom the Swamp, can't afford to scry on upkeep since we need to tap out. So let's play the Dawnbringer and hope for the best. There's Heart of Kiran. Opponent does not attack, alright. And now I think we do scry with Treasure Map. A Moment of Craving revealed. It's not terrible, but also not amazing. Can just kill Ranger or Branchwalker, but I think we can do better. Find a Courtyard, so we can play Karn to draw out the Negate, and then hopefully find more impactful non-creature spells going forward. Opponent does fire off the Negate. And let's play the Chapel so we can still use the Gateway. And can't really afford to attack with Dawnbringer here. So our opponent did pause for a second there when we cast the Karn to counter it with Negate, so they might just have the one copy, is my guess. Thrashing Brontodon. Cruise the Heart. Not sure where this is going, since we can just block the Steel Leaf Champion and we'll gain 5, so I don't think this is a great attack. Let's use Gateway, get rid of Courtyard, untap, scry on upkeep, transform Treasure Map, and yeah, we'll keep another Contempt on top, I think. So we might be in a spot where we can attack with Dawnbringer, gain 5, go to 10. I guess we can still use the Gateway here before we make any decisions. Fatal Push the draw. Alright, I guess we can get rid of one of the Contempts, and then I think I feel safe attacking with Dawnbringer, since now we have both Contempt and Fatal Push up. So we could just kill the 2 Merfolk right now if we wanted to, but I would rather keep up Fatal Push to kill Heart of Kiran if they give us a chance. They might also respect Settle the Wreckage and not attack with everyone. They are going with Crew Heart and send with everyone, so let's push Heart. They did draw the Blossoming Defense, so now we'll have to Contempt in response. That was kind of the worst case scenario, but we're still fine. So we take 6 down to 6. So we can use Gateway again, get rid of a land, draw with Treasure Cove. And Fumigate's not bad as a backup plan, but now we can just get rid of one of the Merfolk and attack for 5. And I think we keep the land in hand in case we need to loot it away with the Gateway. Opponent hits us for 6, down to 5. Let's loot with Gateway, get rid of Swamp, attack for 5, and then Renewed Faith should save the day, even if they draw into some pump spells. Alright, say go. So we'll take 6, and then draw a card with Treasure Cove, cycle Renewed Faith, and if somehow attacking with our Angel doesn't work, we can Fumigate as a backup plan, but Seal Away also works. So let's attack first. Alright, we got there. So close game here against mono green splashing blue for negate. Didn't get to see the Lich's Mastery in action this game, but at least the rest of the deck seems to be operating well. On to the next one. Alright, we're on the play, and this hand seems fine. Got our treasure map to help us find more lands. Can always cycle cast out. So play a swamp, say go. Play treasure map. And then on upkeep we can already scry if we want to. Adanto Vanguard from the opponents. That's fine, we have plenty of answers. Seal Away, Moment of Craving, Vraska's Contempt and Cast Out. All work. So do we want to scry on upkeep? Would not let us cast a Ritual of Rejuvenation. I think we still want to scry here. Make sure to flip it as soon as possible. Second treasure map might be a bit much. Would rather find more lands. Alright, Seal Away works. So that's an answer to the Vanguard. And Radiant Destiny naming Vampire. It's gonna work out well for us since opponent won't have any other creature in play for a turn. So upkeep, let's scry with the map. Hope to find a land. Concealed Courtyard is a land. It's not ideal, given that we then can't cast a Rejuvenation, but I guess we'll keep it still. Don't want to be too greedy. Can always cycle cast out if we want to, even though it is an answer to the Radiant Destiny. 4 mana for a Call to the Feast, so this Fumigate's gonna be pretty good. Probably do want to cycle. Find another Ritual, and I'll take my draw step first, I think. Find a Renewed Faith, and now we can just scry plus Ritual. Take a hit from the vampires, that's fine. And this also represents Settle the Wreckage, so maybe they don't attack with everyone. Dusk Legion Zealot. Just one vampire attacking, sure. So opponent certainly respecting Settle, maybe a little too much. Let's scry with the map and keep land on top. And then draw it with the Ritual. Alright, Azor's Gateway is a nice one. So we could already Fumigate here if we wanted to, but with our opponent respecting Settle the Wreckage this much, maybe we can afford to play it slow. So for now let's play the Gateway. Say go. And then we can just use our Gateway, draw a card with Treasure Cove, maybe play another Ritual. Their creatures now have Vigilance. Alright, 2 creatures getting in there now, that's fine. Get hit for 4, down to 18. Another Call to the Feast, that's perfect. So I think we draw a card first with the Treasure Cove. And then just cast a Ritual. Another Fumigate is excellent. Cast out is good as well. Cast Fumigate. And then we can still use Treasure Cove and use Gateway. A Rite of Belzenlock. So they get to make a whole bunch of tokens with this as well. And eventually a demon. That's fine. The tokens aren't vampires, so they don't get pumped at least. First want to draw with Treasure Cove to get more info on what to exile with the Gateway. We found our Lich's Mastery, that's exciting. Probably just want to get rid of a Contempt. Not great against the token stack, even though it can exile the demon. But I'm sure we'll find ways to deal with it. Alright, I think it's just time to play the Mastery. The board's relatively empty, so now is a pretty good time to do so. And we can still use Cove and activate Gateway, and maybe next turn cast another Fumigate. Look for the approach. Opponent gets more Cleric tokens. And Elenda is fine. So let's sacrifice the last treasure and activate Gateway. Alright. Think I'm okay casting another Fumigate here. Suppose we could have used Cast Out first on the Radiant Destiny, so that Elenda would have only made 1 token, but I think we'll be fine. Discard some lands. Opponent gets their demon. Dusk Legion Zealots. And we'll Moment of Craving one of the vampires. And we can Fatal Push the demon. Double approach, nice. So let's take 2. Exile 2 cards from our graveyard. Danto Vanguard. And I think we want to exile cards from graveyard now, since our opponent does have the Scavenger Grounds, which could exile the graveyard. So let's Fatal Push the demon. Use Gateway. And get rid of another Gateway. So I think we try and control the board for one more turn, so we can flip Gateway and cast Double Approach in the same turn. So that probably means just use Moment on Vanguard. Could also use a Deadlands here if we wanted to, but there's probably no need to. So let's pass a turn. So we've got a 2, a 0, and a 4. Can add a 7 pretty easily. Another Radiant Destiny. Let's respond with a Moment of Craving on the Vanguard. Draw 2 more cards, and that resolves. Opponent can hit us for 6. We can just get rid of 6 cards in graveyard, and next turn win the game. So activate Gateway, get rid of an approach, or I guess a mastery now. And then no need to do anything here really. Untap, and then use Gateway again, get rid of approach, transform into Sanctum of the Sun, gain 5 more life, draw 5 more cards, make 1,000,000 white mana, cast approach, and then redraw the same approach and then cast it again. Alright. Managed to get there against black-white vampires. On to sideboarding. How do we want to approach this matchup? Probably want to bring in our Golden Demise. Do like bringing in the Angel after sideboard. Fatal Push. Can probably expect the opponent to have Legion Lieutenant is going to be okay. Moment of Craving is great against the Danto Vanguard. Can maybe shave a Ritual of Rejuvenation. Vraska's Contempt is okay, not amazing. And then maybe shave a Lich's Mastery. Could also maybe shave an approach for an extra ritual. Alright, so now we've got a more varied set of win conditions. This hand seems good. Got an early Azor's Gateway to help us smooth out our draw. And then Renewed Faith and Ritual are essentially redraws. I guess it's a bit light on interaction. And we're not guaranteed to find interaction with these cards, but we're pretty likely to. Turn 1 Aspirant, so nice aggressive start. Could be in a bit of trouble here since we don't have the sweeper in hand yet. But we will also gain some life back from Renewed Faith and Ritual. So turn 2 I think I prefer playing or cycling the Renewed Faith instead of playing the Gateway. Just to get that extra card right away. There's Dawnbringer, just need to hit land drops. And there's Legion Lieutenant. Maybe could have brought in the 4th copy of Fatal Push. Maybe we'll do that if we go to game 3, since now with Aspirant and Legion Lieutenant, there's quite a few targets for Fatal Push. And Danto Vanguard's not the greatest target for it, but a Golden Demise would be pretty awesome here. Alright, Seal Away will do. If they attack with Legion Lieutenant, we can Seal Away it, which is a nice way of preventing some damage. Otherwise, we might Ritual Elenda, alright. Let's Seal Away. Target Lieutenants. And take 3. Alright, Fatal Push to draw, not bad. So we could just play a Karn here. Plus hope they give us a land. Or we can Ritual and then Fatal Push. I think we Karn, since they might just attack Karn instead of our life total, which is also nice. Alright, they give us a Fatal Push instead. Do have double Fatal Push now. So they have another lieutenant type effect. They could kill Karn. They could use Shafet Dunes right now. But as long as our Angel sticks, we should be in a good spot. Another Zealot. And a Danto Vanguard. So it looks like Karn will see another untap step. Opponent's just attacking us, which makes sense at this point. They're just trying to kill us next turn. Alright, let's see what we can find. Concealed Courtyard. Not as good as Chapel would have been here. I guess we're just plussing Karn. We could also make a token, I guess. Just a 1/1. Doesn't do a ton for us, but it is a chum blocker. So let's say we don't find anything useful with Karn, then we're just casting double Fatal Push. Could go push plus Ritual. Ritual would technically keep us alive. So I guess we do plus Karn. And then hope to survive. If they just give us a Plains, we can cast our Dawnbringer instead. Alright, they did give us a Plains. That's kind of them. So I think that's better than anything else. Hope they don't have removal for it. They could have a cast out, and then we might just be dead. But if they don't, this has higher upside. Radiant Destiny, naming Vampire. Still don't think that kills us. Well, looks like our opponent is sending in everyone. Can just block the Vanguard, they can make it indestructible. I think we still block the Aspirant here. Actually get a creature off the board, and growing Elenda doesn't really matter too much. So we're down to 5. Get to untap. So what now? We can minus Karn to get back Settle the Wreckage, and then just keep up all our instants. That seems fine. And then this turn we also get to attack with our Angel in the air. That seems like a nice place to be. So let's get back Settle the Wreckage. Attack for 5. And then opponent just attacks us with 1 or 2 creatures to force us to use Settle the Wreckage, but then we just get to Ritual of Rejuvenation and maybe Fatal Push instead. And then we are just 1 Fumigate away from playing the Lich's Mastery. So just the Dusk Legion Zealots getting in there. I guess we Fatal Push those, look for a way to exile Elenda, seems fine. So Elenda now a 5/5. And a Queen's Commission, sure. Cast a Ritual. So I think we keep lossing Karn here. See what we can find. And then maybe just attack with our Angel. Alright, there's a Fumigate, so that's good to know. So I think we attack with our Angel, keep up Settle, and then can also play the Gateway. Seems fine. Could also use a Deadlands to shrink Elenda, but I think we would rather do something else here. And I think we play the untapped land so we can actually use a Gateway as well. If they just attack us with the Vampire tokens, there's no need to use Settle the Wreckage yet. Alright, they're attacking like this on Karn. So for 6, I think we might maybe want to use Gateway first for some info. There's an approach. So let's discard the Courtyard. And yeah, I'm fine using Settle here. Keep Karn around. And then we can just switch into Lich's Mastery mode, where we play Lich's Mastery, and then just try and double approach our opponents. Although Scavenger Grounds could make that tricky. I think we keep plussing Karn for now. If they give us a land, I think we run out the Mastery here. And then attack with our Angel, draw 5 cards. Seems pretty good. Opponent does get to hit us for quite a bunch on the way back. Picked up a Golden Demise, could be useful next turn. So for now, let's play the untapped land. Discard a bunch of cards. They could use Scavenger Grounds to empty our graveyard, so we can't fuel the Lich's Mastery. Let's see if they go for that, or if they just try and kill Karn here. They are indeed using Scavenger Grounds, which is fine. So Legion's Landing transforms. And they're all attacking us. Let's cycle Renewed Faith. Draw 2 more cards. And then take quite a beating. Maybe we just exile the approach anyways here, and then the Fumigate as well. Just hang on to the cast out for now. I think our plan is just to cast out Elenda, and then block the vampire tokens, since I don't think casting approach would have worked out for us. Vampire's getting in there, so we can block with our Angel, and then draw the cards before normal damage happens, so we get some more info. Alright, find another approach. So we could just Moment of Craving a Vampire to shrink it down, which seems fine. Draw some more cards. And Seal Away is going to be pretty useless here with Radiant Destinies there. Alright, I guess we can Moment of Craving again. But we can pretty easily get rid of Lich's Mastery, Seal Away, and a land. Forgot to use a ritual there end of turn, not a disaster. Are we in the spot yet where we can cast approach? Think we wait one more turn. Say go. Can cast out plus ritual, and then block with our Angel again. No attacks from the opponent, that's surprising. Respecting Settle the Wreckage. So let's ritual. Gain 4, and then cast out Elenda. And then we can cast approach, gain 7, draw approach again, and just need to survive this one turn. Play a treasure map to just put more permanents in play to sacrifice to the mastery. But whatever we discard here is also a nice way to fuel the mastery. But you never know, the opponent could have another Scavenger Grounds. So they get to hit us for 6, and we can pretty easily exile 6 cards. Let's see if our opponent can kill us here. Legion Lieutenant, alright. It's a nice start. 1 card left in hand. Could just go for the Shafat Dunes activation. Yep. So that they can hit us for 15, we can block 5 of it, so only 10 coming through, and there's plenty in the graveyard. And we won't lose to decking because of the Lich's Mastery, so that's not a concern. So we drew our entire deck. And now we just have to exile some cards from the graveyard, and next turn untap and win the game. Hopefully their last card is not a Duress, since we just have the 1 approach left. Alright, it is not. We get to untap. Draw out of our empty library and cast another approach, and that should do it. Awesome, managed to beat black-white vampires. Wanna thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this gameplay, and as always, have a nice day. I also want to thank all my patrons for supporting the channel, and you can do so yourself as well over at patreon.com/LegenVD, where you get cool rewards for supporting the channel, as well as getting us closer to our goals, where with every goal reached, we will release an additional weekly series. So if you want to see more content, Patreon is the place to go.